Hello, my name is Dominic Underhall-House and welcome to another episode of Moonbreaker. In this episode, we're going to be looking at a list that's just a bit of a fun one. We've tried to do another build around, and I've gone for a bit of a theme on this case, and we are going to be playing our list that is newly called the Greenhouse. So, with the Greenhouse, one of the things that I'm going to be working on is building this entire list around Ursix Scattervine. So, I've given myself two conditions for this. One is that Ursix Scattervine needs to be the main win condition, and two is that we need to have at least half of the units be Cholek. So we're trying to make this be quite a fun way of just making sure we buff our Scattervines up as much as possible, get as much good use of them, and hopefully use them to finish the game. So we've got Aegys Defense Dome. That's going to be protecting our Scattervines, reducing the damage, and in my mind, this is our little greenhouse. You know, that's the actual building itself that everything's going to be hiding in. We've got Ursix Scattervine, so what the Scattervine does, if you don't already know, is it can act straight away with charge, it's got slow, and then it's got the ability of growth, which creates another Ursix Scattervine. So you can actually have more than one out at once. It still counts towards your regular unit cap, so a maximum of 6 units at once, but you can have more than one Scattervine, and if you've got ways of getting them killed consistently, you can just make another one again. We've got Amplifier Bitol, who's going to be buffing the Scattervines up to 2 attack each. Maximus is in there for just a bit of an early game consistency. So that's the same reason that we've also got Deadeye in here as well, and we've also got Beatris sitting in there just to be basically a sort of a good early game trio of a way to compete in terms of board state and also to have a bit of defensive sort of side of things with Beatris as well. We've got Quetzalli, so that when we are playing our lovely slow Scattervines, they can move a bit more often, get a bit more chance to get into range. And we've also got Necahual. So the reason I played Necahual is because obviously Scattervines with 3 health are pretty defensive. So pretty poor on the defensive front. They've only got 3 health, no defensive stats, and other than the dome, we've got no way of keeping them alive. So what I wanted to do is set it up so that if we can return one to the bridge, fully restore it, and bring it out again next turn, and just make sure we've always got that option to keep one alive. So it can be useful in other things like replaying Beatris and things like that, but in general, I just want to keep Necahual to keep having access to Scattervines over and over again. It's not cheap at 2 Cinder to bring back a 2 Cinder unit that then needs to use 2 Cinder again. It's going to add up, but that's pretty reasonable to me anyway. We've gone for Zax because Zax has got the ability to move block with the Sleeper Mines. He's got 2 damage range attack, which helps alongside Maximus and Deadeye to sort of clear up the board in the early game, and Gravity Disc to just help our Scattervines get into range. So we're going to jump into a couple of games with this list, see what we can do, and hopefully kill some people with plants. So with this list, I've wanted to do a build around on Scattervine for a while. I've initially thought about maybe waiting to see if more units came out and that sort of thing, but actually I just want to have a bit of fun with it. It seems like a really enjoyable list. It seems like something you can have a lot of interesting games with. You can set up board states that you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. I could even envisage a world where we only have Scattervines on the board, and it might not even be a losing situation, because as long as we can keep one alive, we can keep growing turn after turn after turn. So there is the consideration of playing it with Astra, so we can get the extra Cinder and use that ability more often, but the issue with that is I feel that we're not going to have enough early game presence with Astra to sort of be able to hold our own to play those ineffectual units, because let's be honest, Necahual and Quetzalli don't really do anything, neither does Defense Dome. They all just sort of stall the game out for us, and we're going to need to be careful with our Scattervines, because if they're our win con, we really need to make sure we keep them alive. So I want to just give this sort of thing a shot. I'm not really sure how it's going to go, but this is more of an experimental side. We could obviously, like I said, have waited for more units, but why? We've got enough units now, we can have a go with it, and after seeing a few other people playing Scattervine in more aggressive lists, I actually feel like it may have a home here and there, and having the ability to move and act straight away is actually a lot more relevant than you might think. So hopefully we're going to be able to keep it safe. We might be looking for assists like Vortex, but maybe prioritising things like Charge Nano Shield to keep it alive that little bit longer. So there's a lot of options here. Medical Recall might be nice, and we'll just see how it goes. So once we get into a game, I'll pop back in and we can start slapping people around the face with plants. Welcome back to the game. So here we are, Zaxxakar with our Scattervine list against another Zaxxakar, it looks like. I even forgot that I was using my skin there, so that would be an interesting option. Looking at these, so Stowaway is great, but it's not going to really work with our game plan. Escape Hatch is good, but Lifeline doesn't do that much. I think we're looking at Medical Recall and Stim Burst. It just gives us an extra way to protect our Scattervines for the future, and that's the only reason we're taking this. Stim Burst is good, but we just want to be a little bit safer here. So, we can try and get an angle here. We can get a -16. And honestly, I think that's probably what we do. We miss, and then we probably want to play Maximus. Is this hard as soft cover, isn't it? So Maximus needs to go defensive over here. Probably should have actually stayed out of range of this, but let's just have some fun and see what we can work out. The most important thing here is that we do get as much value as possible out of our Scattervines. We just don't want them to go to waste. So if they play something aggressive up here, we may be able to Scattervine into it, not this turn, but the following turn, because then we'll have medical recall. But other than that, we want to be just playing fairly safely for the meantime. We don't want to put our Scattervines at risk, because even things like one crit from Zax ruins the entire point of the list. So let's see what we can work out this way. If they're playing defensively, that's pretty good for us, depending on where they position a unit. Okay, so they've gone for Maximus as well, and they've gone fairly far forward.
I forgot my lucky cravat.
What I'm actually going to do here is I'm going to stim burst both of our units, because I think there's a good chance we can get good angles onto their Maximus. So, maybe not actually. That might have been a bit of a mistake. That looks like the best we can get, but we should be able to get at least one hit here. Okay, we did get one. We can still hide back here. And then Zax can get a half-decent shot this direction. Which we did get, perfect. And then I think, for sort of the ease of playing forwards, we're just going to play a Deadeye fairly far forward, make it hard for them to hit, and we're just going to be applying that early pressure for now. So now that we've got the the medical recall, we can start looking at maybe playing Scattervine and finding situations where we can make use of that. So they can absolutely move over here, get shots and move away, but they've only got one life left. Yeah. Okay, so they missed one, so I imagine they're moving back here probably. Yeah, that seems a pretty reasonable spot to me. If they move anywhere else, then I think that's a bit of a mistake. So I don't think we can get line of sight with Deadeye very easily, probably not even with Zax. So we'll just have to go straight onto their Zax, or whatever they happen to play this turn. The other option, though, is if we were a little bit closer, we could have actually played Scattervine and attacked. In fact, I think we might be able to. And we're here to play Scattervine. Let's just play Scattervine and see what we get. Okay, if that's what they're spending their Cinder on, we're kind of okay with that. Because we don't really have any interest. Like, we can just shoot that. We don't have many other things to shoot anyway. Unless they place a good unit. Okay, so they're playing Stitchy. So I think we're going to try and take... So Lord Seraphim here, we're going to try and take out your Maximus.
Need a moment to take all this in.
There is... Oh, there is actually a line of sight here somewhere. Where was it? So that's actually a good line of sight as well. So we have to take this first, because...
Distracted by my missing reflection.
So there's another one here.
Come on, fellas.
Now, we've got 3-drop, but nothing really that we want to play here. So what I think we're going to do... What's the chance? 69? Let's just take this. We should hit this. Okay, we've missed 2. So this is a tragic error. Third time lucky. There we go. Right, we got that. Now the question is, what do we do with our remaining Cinder? I think what I'm actually going to do is place Beatris over here. And the reason for this is I want Beatris to blow up the mine. And with the mine blowing up, I want it to deal 1 damage to her rather than risk it doing more to the rest of our units. So we'll stick with this for now, take the 1, and see if we can sort of build up our board state for the future. So I think next turn we're going to be looking at playing Amplifier Bitol, and then the following turn we're going to start going Scattervine. Is this Axel Pyro? Wow, their most expensive unit left was Axel Pyro. That's a very, very small amount of Cinder costs in their roster there. Very low curve. So if Beatris doesn't get knocked too far back, we might actually be able to get into range with this using Stim Burst. And if we're playing Amplifier Bitol, we can probably play it somewhere around here, and maybe even get in range with all of our units for when they use their attacks as well. So that could be quite a powerful turn. Yeah, oh, is Stitchy going to heal here? Okay, Stitchy healing there is fine. So I'm not really sure what our options are going to be here, but basically we know that... Ooh, a crit. Okay, that might actually be an option for medical recall here, instead of saving it for Stitchy. Sorry, instead of saving it for Scattervine. I think we might just be medical recalling our Beatris. If they place a mine, we're just going to smack the Beatris. Are they going to move? I'm trying to see where they go, because basically Beatris is just going to be getting removed from the board this turn. We're not trying to take anything too seriously. We're just going to smack this. Yeah, we're going to return her and heal.
Not that we need it.
And then it's just a case of looking at what situations we can set up. So Maximus probably wants to be the one that takes this out. There we go, we'll just hide back here. The question is, what lines of sight can we get from things? This is the issue with these, right? I think it's been addressed already, but you can't really see all of the buffs at once, which is a bit unfortunate. Well, debuffs rather. So let's go to here and see what... Okay, we've got 50% on that. That's not too bad. Can we get anything with Zax? Zax can only get over there. So we're just going to bring Zax in here. We'll take our 50% shot this side. There we go. And I think... this is interesting. I think we are going to play Bitol, and I think we're just going to try and play it fairly safe. And maybe play Bitol over here with the intention of running forward. In fact, they've only got 3 of us 6 damage, but yeah, they can take Bitol out if they need to. So let's just play Bitol back here. We've got Stim Burst next turn, and we're also going to have 6 Cinder, so we can play 3 Scattervines with a Bitol trigger and potentially just take out loads of their board. And with 3 Scattervines, it's going to be really hard for them to take everything out with the little Flamer. So, I think Axial Pyro is probably the best bet here. They can get damage onto both of these, I imagine. And it does eventually kill Amplifier Bitol, but I think we'll get enough damage in with our things over time. The other option is actually we could play Necahual and save it if we need to. So this could actually be a really good game for Necahual, potentially saving units, but I really want to just get our little Cholek plants in, and if possible kill Axial Pyro using nothing but Scattervines. That's the big plan for this turn. Because we've got 3 units out, so we can have 3 Scattervines. This is probably a mine. Yes, that's a mine. Okay, I'm glad that missed. Okay, because basically what I'm going to do is use Deadeye to shoot this. We're going to move further forward with both of these, and just basically bring out... I mean, sure, that's fine.
Cool under pressure.
So in fact, we can actually bring Bitol up here, and potentially just use that to mean that Zax can kill this mine with the extra buffed attack. Deadeye can take a shot up here. Maximus could potentially finish off Stitch and Patchy. Ooh, they're playing Scattervine. Well, now we just need to kill that because we are the king of the vines. That's our whole thing.
Stay hydrated.
Okay, so we do need to Stim Burst.
Now we're talking.
Because Bitol needs to basically be fully in range of everything here. There we go. So we're going to take out this mine.
Beats being in a lab.
Deadeye's going to come over here and just try and take out their plant. So we are the plant king now. And then we're going to start playing our Scattervine. So, where's Deadeye's aura around? Okay, so we can go either side of this, and maybe to the other side as well, but let's just worry about getting in range first. So we'll get our 2 attacks there. And then we'll grow to the other side. Just move back to here slightly. Then we'll use this one to attack in here. And we'll grow to this side. And we'll get attack in here. There we go. So this is all the Scattervine synergy.
Just look like you're thinking.
Zax can move, so we'll move him up here.
Still got it.
Maximus can get, I believe, in range of Bitol here and just get a couple of hits, and if we get a crit, then this is dead as well. Excellent. So we managed to overwhelm the board a bit. Our Scattervines did really good work there. They fully killed the unit, and I think given that they were going to offer 6 damage per turn minimum from that point onwards is awesome. I really think that was going to be hard for any opponent to come back from there without some sort of big AoE. So let's go back to the greenhouse, see if we can get a few more plants, and just have a little bit more fun with this as well. I'm already keen for this list. Like, I've been trying to find things that would be really interesting to play, because obviously there's the standard early game, there's sort of a lot of things that fall into the same pattern, and so I don't want to just fall into the trap of just playing the same lists over and over again. So what I want to be doing is playing things with a lot of variety. And there was a part of me thinking, oh, do I just sort of, you know, plod along until we get the new units and that sort of thing, I'll wait till the next patch note. But actually, there's so many things in the game now, even with the units that we've got, that haven't been fully explored. So I want to try and make lists build around certain units. One of the other ones we're going to look at, it was something that I've tried previously but also got comments suggesting it as well, is we're going to be looking at doing a crosshair build around as well and just go snareling, jailbreak, probably Zax again in fact, and just try and block people in with mines and find more and more ways to actually really utilise the roster that we've got. If you've got any ideas for lists like this, please let me know. And one of the things I want to do as well is like a sort of a challenge series. So I want you to suggest lists that you want me to try and win a game with. So I've got this idea in my head of trying to win a game with basically a roster with as low power units as possible. So it would be things like, not to just completely handicap myself and just go all Necahual, Quetzalli, that sort of thing, but see if I can do it with something like Detonia, with Axel Pyro, with Florio Lancer, those being the win conditions, things that have almost no attack, or no actual attack value, and then playing something like Astra as the captain, so it's the lowest amount of attack there, and just seeing if that's the sort of thing we can win a few games with. So there's a lot of fun to be had, and I'm really looking forward to giving it a shot. Hopefully we'll find another game in a moment, and we can get back to throwing plants at people. Okay, we're back into the game. That's our Zax this time, I need to remember that. And our opponent is playing Astra. Okay. So what have we got here? Charged Nano Shield is obviously going to be great for our Scattervine, but I think looking at this, given that Disruptor is very good anyway, just a good ability, and Medical Recall is great with a Scattervine, we're going to take these. This will be the second choice because Nano Shield making it invulnerable is great fun, but yeah, Medical Recall is just so useful in this, and we're going second, so we get access to that Cinder a lot earlier. I'm actually considering here is probably going in for an early aggressive shot first, as in maybe trying to shoot Astra turn 1, or if they play Maximus, I'll absolutely be moving out and trying to shoot Maximus. And then what I'll be doing after that is trying to follow it up the following turn, maybe even with Amplifier Bitol, and trying to sort of work our way straight into the Scattervines if we can do. So this is going to be a hard position for our opponent because there's not really many places they can place it without giving us line of sight onto their onto the Maximus. This is probably one of the best options here. Yeah, so we don't have line of sight here, which is fine. We're not always going to have it, but what we can do is hide from Maximus himself. So this is probably our lowest chance of being hit from here. But what we're going to do is move slightly further forward, take a lower chance to hit, so that we can hide our Maximus back here. 13%, it's fine. We weren't expecting to really hit a 13% shot, but what we can do is place our Maximus into a little bit of safety. Given that next turn we can play Amplifier Bitol, and with the second wind, and we're going to have Disruptor Beam, what we're going to try and do is find a way to knock their Maximus out, kill it with our Maximus, and then potentially just deal 2 damage to Astra or another unit depending on what they play. So we have managed to safely hide from their Maximus here, which is exactly what we wanted, and they've managed to block themselves going this way as well. So this could be Disruptor, which is probably what they want to play if they have it, yep. And it actually didn't even hit Maximus, so they can only hit our Zax here, which is actually very good for us. It depends on what they play next though, because if they play another unit, which they probably are, we have to prioritise between that or Zax, just depending on what it is and where they place it. If this is a Beatris, we're probably in a bit of trouble, because we don't have things that will chip through that at any reasonable rate. This looks like it would be something aggressive. Oh, it's going to be Antios Gauntlet and Drum Dancer Slowly. This is absolutely fine. We're not worried about this at all.
I'm the Cinder Whisperer.
Okay, so we're gonna second wind.
Oh dang!
We're gonna
At your service.
Zax is probably gonna want to just move back slightly. What's the biggest threat? I think it is. Yeah, so we do need to basically keep line of sight here. And what we are going to do is play Bitol, but play it further back to keep ourselves again a little bit safer. We want to keep line of sight to a minimum, so let's go here.
Feeling it, huh?
This way. I can't quite see Bitol's aura. There we go, right. So if we go to here, this should be fine. And we're just going to take out Antios Gauntlet. Got the crit there as well, which is perfect.
Fist aflame.
So we move back here.
As a sexy stream.
Given that we've already moved with this, I actually think we probably want to just push Tlali back this way slightly, and maybe even Astra if we can as well. Yeah, so I think we do this, because they're trying to be aggressive, and this way we can just take our shot this way, and get all our damage in. Yeah, this is a really good start for us. So Maximus is now... Oh, okay, it wasn't quite out of range. So they can go for 4 damage here if they want, but it's absolutely dead on the backswing, and that's probably their whole turn, because they've played all 3 1-drops that exist. Okay, medical recall, that's fine. So, we don't have any heals in our list for our captain. So, this is going to be a situation where we need to start playing in a way that pressures their captain to make our 11 life less of an issue. So, we're going to be down to 9 now, probably. Okay, 10, we'll take that. But our Maximus is going to need to be moving forwards, and with 3 Cinder next turn, we're probably wanting to play Beatris just to sort of hold things back a little, try and be as defensive as possible, make it harder for Maximus to get shots off onto us. So, what's their follow-up? We can medical recall something if we need to, but I'd rather just be able to shoot things. I want to save our medical recall for where it's really needed. I think we're going to try and build a little fortress back here. Yeah, so that's Quetzalli back again.
This moon's talking to me.
So, we don't have a good line of sight onto any of their units here whatsoever. And I don't believe we've got any with Maximus either. So I think what we do here is actually just hole up a little and play defensive. So Bitol can move into here.
Fantastic move. And
we're going to play Beatris around here. Beatris soaks up so much damage. We're saving Cinder for next turn. So there is a range shot we can take here. It is 0, I imagine? Yeah. So with 5 Cinder next turn, we probably do still want to keep this. So I think we just end the turn here. I think the issue is going to be finding ways to keep our life total secure. So there's absolutely things that they can do here to sort of push us out, but we need to find ways to deal with that on our turn. So we've got our Disruptor Beam coming. We've actually still got all of our units alive. We've killed one of theirs, but it's our life total that's coming into danger here. We've made it so they can't get a line of sight onto Zax, which is perfect. They've got bad lines of sight onto our Maximus, but if they push it... there we go, they're going to push it over here. So this to me says we need to desperately kill Maximus now, because they're going to get... Oh, they're still just out of line of sight here. I think it just goes over that. So now they're not going to have a good line of sight. Astra's not going to have a good one either. Quetzalli's going to be coming at an awkward angle. So I think this is a chance that we've got to just start coming back this turn. Especially considering that we're going to have 7 Cinder, which I'd forgotten about, and we can play our Defense Dome. So, this shouldn't kill Bitol, but it is possible. So they need a crit and to hit both. Okay, so it didn't kill it, that's good. Maximus can move again. And they can... Can they get an angle onto Bitol here? Oh, it's Quetzalli. Yeah, so it doesn't... That's not an angle they can even look for. So this here is where we're going to need to be. So we're going to actually probably want to push all of these closer to us.
Feeling fine.
But I think it might even be that we start with Beatris. But let's start by just pushing these in our direction. I think this way is fine. Yeah, we just need them both. Right, can Beatris move to there? So this should put one of them in range, which may put both of them in range. There we go, excellent. So Beatris can move here. We do hit both of them, that's what we wanted to do. And we got the crit as well, which is excellent.
I'm right over here.
So then Maximus can get the shots off over here. Take out their Max, which is the more important of the two.
Remember me as I was.
Bitol, we're actually going to medical recall here. Because that's quite important. We're going to move Zax over here to shoot here. And then we've got a lot of Cinder. So, I think what we're going to do is just play our Defense Dome in front of Zax. And I think this is exactly where we want to be. Everything's going to be super tanky, it's going to be very hard for them to deal with. This is going to be a Toxoid turn for them if they have it, which I imagine they do. They're playing an Astralist, it would be silly not to. So this is going to be Toxoid to take out our Defense Dome, but then following turn we can basically kill Toxoid and we're just trading unit for unit. Okay, they've gone Rickety. So they're just going for 4 damage onto our captain potentially? I mean, sure. I mean, they do have the constant threat from Astra. So this does put us in a position where we need to start blocking things up, but I'm not convinced that going for us is correct, but we are very low though. So we're going to have to basically try and block things off. Quetzalli is going to be an issue if they're coming that way, but honestly I think we just need to keep focusing on Astra and running Zax away from the rest of the game, potentially even just taking a couple shots this direction to try and take out Quetzalli. In fact, with Zax and Maximus, we could potentially take out Quetzalli this turn,
pause button, huh?
but we'd be losing the opportunity to take out their Rickety. So, because Astra can get in... sorry, Beatris can get in range but not fully. So this has to happen. The question is, what do we do from here? If we move the dome...
At your service.
So let's go with Bitol first. And in fact we're going to move Zax this way. Then we're going to play Bitol over here.
Feeling it, huh?
Give Maximus the extra crits, sorry, extra damage.
This sun still warms my
Okay,
blood.
that miss is quite awkward for us now. So now I feel like we need to actually just block our captain in. So bring defense dome over here.
Drinks just go right through me.
I think we have to pop us. What else have we got? So Beatrice can just move and hit, make this awkward for them.
Stay a while.
Cool under
And
pressure.
the other option is, hang on, we might be able to Scattervine into range. Yeah, Scattervine. So it's not going to kill this, but there we go. So this is a game where we're actually going to lose our Scattervine to Quetzalli, which is not what we want, but I feel like we're desperate. We need to find any way we possibly can to stay alive here. And we wanted to basically move block this as much as possible, try and keep Zax safe, keep it away from Quetzalli, because if they can get this in range just here, which is very close to being able to do so, it only takes them 1 damage to kill us. I don't think they can get in range. Yeah, they're just out of range here. So if I were them, I'd probably go for Maximus. They can still take a hit here, but oh no, they can into the breach something. We're probably dead. I don't know if there was a way we could have saved this back. Maybe this is an argument for bringing the Necahual as well as Scattervine. And that would take the place of Quetzalli, probably. We've not felt the need for the movement. Scattervine being able to activate is quite movement heavy anyway. And Necahual is also a Cholek unit, so absolutely possible.
Rise and shine.
If this is something that can deal 4 damage, we're in a lot of trouble here. Oh, it's Esley, so yeah, they can move in, give pummel to itself, and that's it, we're dead.
I got this. Probably.
They just have to pummel themselves. Perfect. Yep, really good finish by our opponent.
I can
Nice
learn a
aggressive
couple things
list.
from you.
I don't think we were too far off from this. I think we were very close. Maybe if we played Quetzalli and just ran further, we could have potentially got there, but I like how that game went. It was very entertaining. I actually am going to do one more game. Normally I try and stop my videos around half an hour, or as close as I can do, but I just want to fit in a third game with this. I think this list deserves an extra little bit of fun. We've got to do our Scattervine thing at least once, and I want to try and do it at least one more as well. Again though, if you've got any any thoughts on this whatsoever, if you'd be playing something different, let me know. I try not to change my lists mid-video, because I like, after someone suggested putting the list in the description, I think that's a great idea, and I think it just helps things stay a little bit more consistent throughout. So,
Anyone hungry?
oh, I recognise this player. Who is this? This is someone I know, and I can't remember who it is. I think here we're going to take Disruptor and Escape Hatch, because I want to just get our defense dome down. I know this person. I recognise the skin. Who is it? I know I've played this person. I'm pretty sure it's someone from Discord. Oh, yes. Here we go. I know exactly who this is. So, given that they're also a level 100 player, one of the very few in the game at the moment, I'm going to get myself absolutely stomped here, but I'm looking at having fun doing it. That's going to be an orb, yeah. So we need to be fairly aggressive early on. We can't get anywhere into that. Ooh, the crit probably helps quite a bit. So we're going to pop Maximus down over here and try and put it in a spot where we can be quite aggressive with it. So there is a world in which they could into the breach something here and try and take us out, but they need to take this now, or we're just going to deal with it immediately. The best thing they can into the breach is probably... I mean, a Beatris would be really good here if they have it. That would be a surefire way of just slowing Maximus down quite a lot. Okay, they're playing their own Maximus, so this is going to be an aggro list. There's going to be multiple things coming, I imagine. Yep, Maximus, Deadeye. What else have we got? So we're going to have Force in the next turn, so I'm probably going to go back to either playing Beatris and Deadeye or Bitol, depending on how we feel about their Maximus. I love the neon paints. They're so cool. This is a beautiful Astra paint job, by the way, though. I really, really like it. The only thing I'd change is I'd put the bit colour onto the fruits. Okay, so
This moon's talking to me.
what do we want to do? I think the first thing I want to do is just push things like this. So what this is going to do is going to spend their Cinder, so they're going to pick it up while it's still 1 rather than ramping to 2 next turn, which is exactly what we want. We're going to move forward. And actually,
I'm right over here.
I think we do need to go for this in this sort of style. I'm going to push onto their Maximus first, try and get damage in. Okay, we did, that's perfect. Move back here. See if Zax can finish it off. We can. Awesome. We're then going to play Beatris up at the front lines.
Don't hold me back.
We're going to second wind.
What have we got here?
And we're going to play our Deadeye probably just over here. They're only going to have 4 Cinder next turn. So this is going to be a pretty solid solid roster for us. And what we're also going to do is going to use Escape Hatch to bring our Defense Dome down after we've moved this to try and protect all of our units here. So this is a really solid start for us. We've not really worked our way towards our Scattervine goal, but that's what literally the rest of our roster is built towards. So we can do exactly that next turn. We've only got 3 Cinder, so there's a good chance we actually save our Cinder next turn and use it the following turn, because 3 doesn't do much here for us. So placing Deadeye there, I actually think is somewhat of a risk. Like, we're not quite in range with Beatris, but with 6 damage on the board, there's a world in which we can take that down from range. Especially if we play Amplifier Bitol, but we're still 1 Cinder short of that this turn. However, I'm not really sure what the correct option is here. It's probably, if they don't move Astra, it's just to move Beatris into here and start attacking. Yeah, I mean, I'd move just out of Beatris's movement range. Okay, so they're into the breaching something.
We need your expertise.
Okay, it's their Rickety, so they're gonna... What are they going for? Is this Nano Shield? Oh, Vortex. Okay, that's a really cool play. Yeah, so they're potentially going to kill something here. If Rickety doesn't explode, that's super sad for them.
Oh, that'll
But yeah,
take back.
that's a pretty good one.
Snack time.
I mean, this isn't going to do anything, but that was a good Rickety.
Woo!
Quite happy to see that.
Like
So what I'm
my
going to do is I'm actually going to
mask.
use Maximus to take this out, I believe. Because I probably want to use Zax to shoot onto Deadeye. Just move back into here. Beatris can move up here.
Wanna have a
We're going to
jam
move
sesh?
all the way up with this. Just to get our damage in.
Allergic
That was
to
a
gunfire?
good shot as well, actually, for 3 damage. And then we're going to play our Escape Hatch.
Careful out there.
We're going to bank all 3 Cinder for next turn. And this is going to be quite a tough spot for them to break. Again, I do think maybe Quetzalli should have been the Necahual. If I play this list again, that's the change I'm going to make. But we've got a solid force, we're moving forwards. Even a Toxoid's going to struggle to get in range of this
My
first.
favorite.
Okay, stasis on the captain, interesting. And Axial Pyro. Okay, so we're going to be working on trying to deal somehow with Axial Pyro. It might just be Amplifier, Bitol, and Disruptor, which I think does actually do the damage here. We don't even necessarily need the Disruptor. So, Amplifier Bitol should do enough here.
How's your depth
Yep,
perception?
there's no reason not to shoot that. It doesn't hurt them to not to shoot. Extra accuracy, shooting the dome is correct here. So we're actually going to need to move the dome to fit Maximus through. But this is a pretty reasonable thing to do. So move the dome down here.
I've got plans soon.
Beatris moves into here to still leave line of sight in that direction. We're going to play Amplifier Bitol just up here.
Taste the sun.
And we're going to try and take out Axial Pyro immediately.
Do we need to fight?
How did we miss both from there?
What is this
Well.
armor made of?
That's pretty bad, actually, to be fair. What's Bitol's range for her aura? Okay, so let's just push Bitol in this way. We do have an out.
Now we're talking.
And that out is playing Scattervine here. Getting our attack in.
Okay,
And moving out.
Alright.
Buffing ourselves up.
Oh, dang!
Playing our other Scattervine. Because basically, if we don't do this here, we're actually dead. There's nothing we can do if we didn't do that, because we'd lose all of our fun things. Like, Axel Pyro would get too much value there. Like, we may not lose, we've got so many units on the board, but... Oh, I can't end the turn. No, don't bug! Oh, okay, maybe that was just them conceding. Awesome. So, Scattervine saves the day again. I'm honestly starting to really come around on Scattervine. I think it's a lot of value for one unit. And honestly, that's won us both of the games that we've won. And it nearly saved us in the game that we lost. We just were a little bit short on saving ourselves from the life total. So, I do think that there I would probably swap out Quetzalli for Necahual. I know I've said it twice already. Third time's the charm. We're going to definitely suggest that as a future option. But all in all, I really enjoyed this. Like, I might actually play a bit more of this list in the future. So, again, Quetzalli didn't do anything. We didn't get to use Necahual, but I think Necahual would have potentially been more useful than Quetzalli in a longer game, because we weren't really getting kited. And the fact that you basically get to move Scattervine, play another Scattervine, we've got access to Gravity Disc, we've got access to the assists, I think it's pretty reasonable to stick with that sort of style. And, you know, we don't need too much more movement from that. But, yeah, this was great fun. And I'm going to be coming back to visit our little Cholet greenhouse in the future. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this. If you have, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I know I keep going on about it every single video, but to make any sort of, you know, anything back off of YouTube, we need to hit 1,000 subscribers total, so I'm going to push for 250 for now, see how far we get, because I'd love to be able to get a little bit of income from this so I can start using it to upgrade more things for the stream. One of the main ones being, at some point I'm going to need a new PC, because it takes me sometimes an hour and a half just to process these videos before I can even upload them, and when I've got other things like a job to do, it does mean I'm sort of limited in how much time I can spend on it, so I'd love to be able to get things done a little bit quicker, basically get better content created for you guys, and I'm so keen to keep this going forward. Other than that, like, subscribe, comment, all those things, and most importantly, have a good day.